You're listening because you want to cut through the noise, right? Get straight to what matters,
Right.
understand the big picture quickly.
Exactly. No time for endless reports.
Well, that's what we do. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something huge. India's goal to hit a $50 trillion economy by 2047.
50 trillion. That's the 100th anniversary of independence.
And just to put that into perspective, right now they're sitting at around, what, $3.7 trillion?
Yeah, about that. So the scale is just massive.
So the big question is, obviously, can they actually do it? And what's supposed to power this incredible transformation?
Well, the core argument we're seeing is that it hinges on two main things: artificial intelligence and green energy.
AI and green energy. Okay.
Plus, they've already got these like digital foundations in place, the digital rails, some call them.
Right, that digital infrastructure. We'll definitely need to unpack that. So let's get into it. Aiming for those aha moments.
Let's do it. Clarity without the overwhelm.
Okay, so that $50 trillion number, you mentioned the growth rate needed about 9 to 10% a year.
Yeah, on average for the next couple of decades, it's steep. Really steep.
It sounds almost impossible, doesn't it? Sustaining that for so long.
It's definitely challenging, no question. But, you know, it's not entirely unprecedented. If you look at China, say, in the 1990s.
Ah, right. They had that kind of explosive growth for a while.
They did. So the question becomes, what ingredients did they have? And does India have something similar, or maybe something different that could work?
Okay, so beyond just hoping for the best, what actual advantages does India bring to the table? It can't just be demographics, can it? Although that's a big factor.
The demographic dividend, that young population, is certainly a huge plus. You've got built-in workforce growth and consumer demand.
And a growing middle class, too. Right, more spending power.
Absolutely. Strong domestic demand is key. But I think the really unique piece, the differentiator, might be this digital infrastructure they've built.
Yeah, you mentioned the digital rails. This is the India Stack stuff.
Exactly. The India Stack, it's sort of their, maybe their secret weapon in all this.
Okay, so break that down for us. What is India Stack, really, beyond the buzzword?
Sure. So think of it as a set of shared digital public goods, open platforms, APIs.
Yeah.
You know, the technical bits that let different systems talk to each other.
Like digital building blocks.
Precisely. Key parts are Aadhaar. That's the biometric ID system covering almost everyone.
Okay.
Then there's UPI, the payment system, instant payments, phone to phone, bank to bank. It's huge.
Yeah, UPI is everywhere now.
Then you have ONDC, aiming to do for e-commerce what UPI did for payments, break open the silos.
Interesting. Like an open marketplace.
Kinda, yeah. And DigiLocker for documents,
Yeah.
account aggregators for sharing financial data securely. It's a whole ecosystem.
So it's way more than just convenience, like paying your bills easily.
Oh, much more. The real power is empowerment at scale. Think about a farmer in, say, Bihar getting direct market access via ONDC.
Right, or a small startup in Bangalore getting a loan faster because of easier data sharing.
Exactly. Or even a housewife in Indore starting a small business online. It connects people, reduces friction, boosts productivity across the board.
It sounds like it's basically laying the groundwork for a completely different kind of economy. Hyper-digital, super efficient.
That's the idea. It boosts formal participation, makes things more transparent, and cuts costs. It's a massive productivity lever.
Okay, so digital infrastructure is piece one, foundational. Now let's talk about AI. That's the first big engine you mentioned. How does AI fit into this $50 trillion picture specifically for India?
Well, the thing about AI in India is it's not just hype. It's already starting to make real impacts in healthcare, logistics, finance, even agriculture.
Really, already seeing practical uses.
Definitely. And India has some specific advantages here. One, obviously, is data. Just vast amounts of data being generated.
Especially with that digital infrastructure we just talked about.
Exactly. Two, a growing pool of tech talent, engineers, data scientists. And three, there's clear government ambition to be a leader in AI.
Can you give some tangible examples? What does AI in Indian healthcare actually look like?
Well, think about AI tools that can analyze medical scans, like X-rays or MRIs, maybe even faster or more accurately than a human in some cases. This could help doctors, especially in rural areas with fewer specialists.
Okay, diagnostic support makes sense. What about farming?
Agritech is a big one. Using AI to analyze weather patterns, satellite images, soil sensor data.
To tell farmers exactly what to do?
Pretty much. Like when to plant, how much water or fertilizer, predicting pest outbreaks, boosting yields. Then, in finance, AI helps with credit scoring, fraud detection, making lending potentially more accessible.
And logistics, getting things delivered.
Yeah, optimizing delivery routes, managing warehouses, making supply chains more efficient. You see big players like TCS, Infosys, Reliance building enterprise AI platforms, but also lots of startups tackling specific problems.
And the government's pushing this too. You mentioned initiatives.
Yeah, things like Bashini, that's focused on creating AI that understands and works in India's many different languages. Super important for inclusion.
Oh, absolutely. That makes AI useful for way more people.
Right. And then there's India AI, which is more a broad push for public-private partnerships, research, getting AI adopted across the economy.
It's almost like electricity was for the Industrial Revolution, AI could be for this digital age.
That's a great analogy. It's a
Yeah.
foundational enabling technology. NASSCOM, the tech industry body, reckons AI could add something like $1 trillion a year to the economy by 2035.
$1 trillion a year just from AI. Wow. Okay. Engine one, AI. Engine two, green energy. Specifically, you mentioned green hydrogen, but India's already big in renewables, isn't it? Solar, wind.
It is currently the third largest renewable energy producer globally. You see massive solar parks in Rajasthan, wind farms in Tamil Nadu, hydro projects up north. That's kind of phase one.
So green hydrogen is phase two.
You could call it that. It's about tackling the harder to decarbonize sectors, going beyond just electricity.
Right. So for the listeners, what exactly is green hydrogen? How is it made and why is it green?
Okay, so basically you take water H2O and you split it into hydrogen and oxygen using electricity. That process is called electrolysis.
Okay.
Now, if the electricity you use for that splitting comes from renewable sources like solar or wind,
Then the whole process is clean, no emissions.
exactly, no carbon emissions, no pollution. That's green hydrogen. The government's national green hydrogen mission is super ambitious. They want India to be a global hub for producing and even exporting this stuff.
A global hub. So they have specific targets.
You do. The initial target is 5 million tons of annual production capacity by 2030.
5 million tons. That sounds like a lot. Is the investment happening?
Oh, yeah, big time. Companies like Reliance, Adani, the state-owned NTPC, they're pouring billions into building electrolyzer manufacturing plants, massive renewable energy projects to power them, and the infrastructure needed, like pipelines or hydrogen corridors.
Okay, so lots of production planned. But where will it all be used? You said it's not really for cars yet?
Not primarily, no. The big immediate focus is on those hard-to-abate industries. Think steelmaking, oil refineries producing fertilizers. These are hugely energy-intensive and rely heavily on fossil fuels right now.
So green hydrogen could replace coal or gas in those processes.
Yes, or be used as a clean feedstock. Also, heavy transport, long-haul trucks, shipping. Those are tough to electrify directly with batteries. Green hydrogen, or fuels derived from it like green ammonia, offers a potential solution.
So we've got this digital foundation, AI transforming processes, and green energy, especially hydrogen, cleaning up heavy industry. These aren't separate things, are they? They seem connected.
Deeply connected. That's
Okay.
the key synergy. You need massive clean energy to power the digital economy, all those data centers, the AI computations.
Right. Can't run AI on coal power and call it sustainable.
Exactly. And AI, in turn, can help manage the energy grid, predict renewable output, optimize hydrogen production. They feed each other.
And this all plays into the global situation, too, with supply chains shifting.
Absolutely. You hear a lot about companies wanting to de-risk or diversify away from China.
The China plus one strategy.
Right. India is positioning itself to capture some of that shift. The PLI schemes, production-linked incentives, are designed to boost manufacturing in key areas.
Like electronics, semiconductors.
Semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, defense components, yeah. Having strong digital infrastructure and a commitment to green energy makes India a more attractive alternative. They can potentially offer products that are not just made in India, but also green in India.
That climate edge, you called it.
Yeah, it could become a significant competitive advantage in a world increasingly focused on sustainability.
Okay, this all sounds incredibly promising, almost like a perfect storm of positive factors. But we have to be realistic. What are the major roadblocks? What could derail this $50 trillion dream?
And that's crucial. It's definitely not a done deal. The challenges are, frankly, enormous. First, the money. Just for the green transition, estimates are around, what, $10 trillion needed in infrastructure investment?
$10 trillion. That's
Yeah.
huge.
It's a staggering amount of capital to mobilize. Second, people. You need to skill or reskill potentially hundreds of millions of people for an economy that's increasingly driven by AI and digital tech.
That's a massive education and training challenge.
Monumental. And then there are the more systemic, long-standing issues. Reforms are still needed in things like land acquisition, labor laws, logistics, making it easier to do business. And the judicial system needs to be faster.
Bureaucracy, red tape.
Those things need continuous improvement. And maybe the biggest thing is sustained political will and policy consistency. We're talking about changes over decades across election cycles. That requires real long-term focus.
So stability and continued reform momentum are absolutely critical.
Absolutely essential. Without that consistent push, it'll be very hard to maintain that 9–10% growth trajectory.
So it's not guaranteed, but it feels like that digital groundwork, the India stack we discussed, really does make this moment different somehow.
I think so. This isn't just about good luck or timing. That digital foundation was a deliberate, decade-long effort, and it provides the rails for AI and green energy to actually scale and integrate in a way that wasn't possible before.
So back to the big question. Will India hit $50 trillion by 2047?
Well, like I said, it's not a simple yes-no. What seems clear is that it won't happen just by doing more of the same incremental improvement.
It needs that paradigm shift.
Exactly, a shift powered by that combination: AI, clean energy, and the digital inclusion that the India stack enables. These next 2 decades are really make or break. They'll define India's economic future and, frankly, its place in the world.
It's fascinating, moving beyond just being the most populous country
To potentially being a story of human potential really unleashed in the 21st century, if they get it right.
A powerful thought to end on. So, as everyone listening considers this huge ambition, maybe think about this. With AI and green energy becoming so central, what new skills or maybe areas of knowledge do you think will be most valuable in the coming decades, wherever you are in the world? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.